I'm more concerned with my quality of life. I'm more concerned with how I feel in my body, avoiding chronic pain, because nerve damage can be done from lumpectomy, radiation, having the lymph nodes removed. There's less of a chance of chronic pain with a mastectomy and problems revolving around that. You can still have nerve damage, but that's a lower risk if you have a great surgeon. So, but more often than not, what happens is that your breasts are just numb. And that's something that I'm okay with. That doesn't really bother me. I would much rather numbness than more chronic pain that I already have. So I want to be symmetrical. I want my breasts to match. I want my breasts to look the same over time. I don't want one breast aging and getting bigger or smaller depending on weight gain or weight loss, while the other one is frozen in time, looking exactly the same, because that's what radiation does. The IORT doesn't have as big of effect on the outside, but I'm trying to be careful of, everything else. I also want to minimize my risk of range of motion issues. Again, you have risks both with mastectomy and lumpectomy, but again, radiation makes it worse, so I'm still trying to avoid radiation. Implants are also more easily replaced if something happens, if they go wrong. That's something that with revision surgery that can be fixed. Whereas if you have a lumpectomy, your skin is irradiated, that tissue is damaged and very hard to work with. So if you have radiation and then in the future you have a recurrence where you have to have a mastectomy and reconstruction, it is very difficult for a plastic surgeon to work on that irradiated skin. It doesn't move and stretch, and the fibrosis can be so severe that they have to then take skin from other parts of the body to reconstruct the skin on the breast. And right now, because of my stage and my test results, I qualify for nipple sparing and skin sparing mastectomy, which means I have the best chance of a good aesthetic outcome if I do this now, as opposed to waiting to see if I have a recurrence. I already know I won't like the way I look after a lumpectomy. That can get worse over years, and then that's really hard to fix. And then if you have a reoccurrence, they may have to take your nipples off. They may have to take part or all of your skin and then graft skin from elsewhere. And right now, as it stands, I qualify for skin and nipple sparing. So all they have to do, and so instead of all the big scars everywhere, they would just make an incision right there on just the lower part of my nipple, and they would go in through that, take the breast tissue out, then the plastic surgeon would, and this is a whole process with whether they put in implants directly or expanders. That's a whole other thing. But yeah, right now this gives me the best chance of looking normal, and so that I'm not incredibly upset with my appearance, and I'm lowering my risks of chronic pain and problems from radiation. So in the future, if I had a recurrence, I am not a great candidate for flap reconstruction. Is like what I said, they can take skin from your back and sides or your abdomen and take that skin and tissue and create a breast out of it. And I'm not a good candidate for that because I'm very slender and there's not much to take from anywhere. So I would have to have implants, and then I still have the option in the future of, if there is a reoccurrence and they have to do a lumpectomy at that point, or remove skin, then they can attempt to do a flap procedure then. Oh my god. I picked up my notepad. There was dust on my table and it just went awesome. Like I said in the other video too, I'm trying to avoid the whole, since I have dense breasts and they're very hard to see, and there's a chance that, and very often they go in, they do the lumpectomy. If they don't have what's called clean margins or clear margins, they have to go in and take more tissue out. They have to have margins or tissue surrounding the tumor that don't have any cancer in them at all. If they have even microscopic cells of cancer in and around this, they have to go in and they have to take even more out. So that's a risk, having to take even more tissue out of already a pretty large chunk of tissue. There's also the risk that they go in, and because I have such dense breasts, again, they can't see exactly how big the tumor is, or if there's other smaller tumors that they couldn't see on the scans, or if they could open up the other side and go, oh shit, there's cancer in the left side too. We couldn't even see it on the scans. A big part of this is me erring on the side of caution and going, I don't want to go through all of that. I've heard so many stories, and that won't necessarily happen to me, but it's just one of the many reasons that I am opting for double mastectomy, is those possibilities. And those possibilities are heightened a lot more because of my dense breast tissue. So that's basically it when in concern with why I'm choosing a double mastectomy over a lumpectomy and radiation. I can talk about, because I want to keep these videos like not a half an hour long, but we can talk about side effects, the why behind what can happen because of radiation, and what can happen from lymph node removal, and etc., etc. So we'll talk about that in another video. I don't know why. Okay, the end.